not about politics. It's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. He's just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
I just get in and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game.
It really is the best time of the year.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to It's Just Football. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That is Mike Renner. Mike, we talked about, hit a little bit of smelling salts, get the blood flowing before the show. You're already nodding. I see that. Yeah, the production guys took a little whiff of the new stuff that you got, and I got to say, I wasn't even sure we were going to turn on the cameras to start this show.
Yeah, Atomic Redline Rhino. This stuff, they tell you not to shake it even. They say it's too powerful already, and I'll be honest, it tore me apart before I did it on the show, my podcast this morning. I was leaking out my nose pretty much the entire
Nobody
time.
wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that.
It did not feel great.
There are warning labels on the thing for a reason.
Yeah.
They are right there for a reason. I didn't even think you needed smelling salts for this show because, honestly, this is one of the best rundowns that we have ever had on this show. This is going to be so much fun. We got Ben Solak joining the show. We're going to talk major storylines. We're going to talk about a segment. It's called Don't Look Now, where we're going to either pick out things that are going well, surprises, maybe not going so well, surprises, but it's just like, hey, don't look now, but this might happen. And so that's going to be a lot of fun. We are settling the great debate. The debate that has torn this country apart for centuries. In honor of Thursday Night Football, who you taking? Jaylen Waddle or Ja'Marr Chase? That is the great debate.
I was going to say hot dog's not a sandwich, but yeah. I thought that's what you're referring to.
Where are you on that line?
It's not a sandwich. It's not a sandwich.
Is it not, though?
It's not.
It's, two pieces of bread, a piece of meat.
It's one piece of bread that's folded in half.
Yeah, but sometimes you get sub sandwiches, that are the bread's connected. And that's all I'm saying. Look, that's for another day, though. We are filling our debate cup with Ja'Marr Chase versus Jaylen Waddle. We're, of course, previewing Thursday Night Football as well. We're going to have a lot of fun doing it. Let's check in on the production suite. Let's check in on Quinn, Sobstone, and Eli. I don't think I saw Quinn take a whiff of the new smelling salts already.
No, I learned my lesson this morning. Me and Mike were in early doing Talking Ball, and everything that you guys said is spot on.
Sob, are we gonna get any graphics in today's show, or is it just we'll have to wait and see?
No, we got it. I just need more tissues over here.
Quinn, do we have a question of the day? What's the question of the day before we get on with it?
Yeah, you teased it, and we'll dive into it deeper later. But Ja'Marr Chase or Jaylen Waddle? You gotta pick one. You gotta pick one right now.
Fire. No, we're not gonna pick one. We're devoting an entire segment to answering the question of the day. So if people want to start getting in on it right now, they can. That's the question that we have for them. Jaylen Waddle or Ja'Marr Chase. Two phenomenally talented wide receivers, both bring kind of different parts to the game, but as we've seen over the last 2 years, extreme talent. So I'm very curious of what the chat is going to say, who they're going to say they would rather have between Jaylen Waddle and Ja'Marr Chase. Maybe they'll say something at the beginning of the show, and our arguments later in the show might convince them otherwise. You think you have that compelling of an argument, Mike?
No, I don't think I do. And truthfully, my take is going to be very wishy-washy, and I hate that it's like that, but it's it depends on the scheme you're running. It depends on how you're going to utilize these guys. That, if you flip-flop their roles right now, Chase wouldn't be as good in Waddle's role, Waddle wouldn't be as good in Chase's role as they are in their respective roles at the moment. So that's a way of punting on it, but I do have a take at the end of the show about who is then more valuable.
Well,
we shall see.
I'm gonna slam you for that logic because I'm gonna call you a coward. I'll call you a
that
coward
is a cowardly
now,
take. But
I'll call you a coward later in the show, and then I'm gonna make a definitive take
of
which one that I would rather have when we get to that debate later in the show. Before we refresh the timeline, I do want to shout out the chat champ from yesterday, Stat Life Productions. Stat Life, hopefully you are back in the chat today because you are the ultimate tiebreaker. You won the chat yesterday when we did trivia. Stat Life was firing off all the answers. He says that he got all 10 right. Maybe there's some controversy. They got 9 out of 10 questions, but either way, incredible job. He was named the chat champ from yesterday, and look, maybe we're going to have to lean on Stat Life to settle the debate for us once we get to Ja'Marr Chase, Jaylen Waddle. Maybe that vote's going to be swayed by him or determined by him. But let's refresh the timeline before we get into all of that. It's a jam-packed show, but there was one specific tweet that I saw yesterday that has to do with Thursday Night Football, very topical. It was a little bit wild, man. Out of pocket, if you will. And that was,
literally,
we had I think a UC student, a Cincinnati student, filming the Miami Dolphins walkthrough practice. Miami Dolphins flew from Miami up to Cincinnati, and they were practicing going through walkthroughs at the Bearcat Stadium at the University of Cincinnati, which isn't too far from here. And somebody was throwing all of their plays on Twitter.
Yeah, it's great.
What do you mean it's great?
I mean, I love this. I love the competitive nature of this, right? And if you've never been to UC's campus or Nippert Stadium here, it kind of is just dead center of the campus with no edge to it, really. Like, there's no fencing on it. I remember when I used to live
to the public.
Yeah, it's very open to the public.
Completely open. Like, okay,
so yeah,
so
this
didn't even have to be a student. Could have been anybody.
Yeah, I used to go there during COVID and run and work out on that practice field just because you can walk onto it. It's like the walkways on campus go directly into the stadium. Like there's no real barrier barring you from entering. So like, it's a public facility. Them filming this, there's no recourse. I was laughing at people on Twitter saying this was illegal. It's like, this is a team practicing in a public space. Maybe it'd be illegal if the Bengals brass came down there and filmed it themselves. Not illegal against NFL rules, but there's nothing you can really do to stop this.
What if it was Jamar and Joe Burrow like themselves? Just like walking up in the third level of the stadium, just like pulling out their iPhones, just like throwing this bad boy on Twitter. I don't think they would if it was them, but it could have been.
Goodell would have flown out here himself. Apparently he is out here. I guess Cris is going to sit with them here tonight. So.
What if it was Goodell who was filming it? You know,
we would.
Maybe Goodell still wants to go after Miami for tampering with Brady. You know,
shuts down the franchise. He would lay the hammer.
Now this is a conspiracy theory that I can get into. Evan said you can't show up to Nippert and expect a private practice.
That's the gist of it. This is a different stadium. It's not like practicing at an NFL field where you have to get in some doors to even see the field. It's like, no, you see the field from everywhere on campus, basically.
I just read the comment, is the Danger Witch a sandwich? Because we were just talking about sandwiches. That one is a sandwich. We're counting that one as a sandwich. Look, all I'm saying is, Miami Dolphins, if you need Mike and I to run security for you, we are available. For a fee, of course. We're not going to do it for free, you know. Can't take the guns out for free. But we will. We will make sure that nobody's...
No, I would have been filming myself. I would not.
No, we'll set off an EMP. The whole campus won't be able to use any of their electronic devices in the Miami Dolphins.
That'd be easy way to do it. Come on.
I was just like, I couldn't believe that happened. It makes sense. It's an open practice, but like, that's wild. That's wild.
There were a lot of videos. I mean, it wasn't just a few. It was because everyone.
It looked like people were posting the entire practice.
But it's like, it's not really a practice, right? It's just a walkthrough. They weren't going full bore, like actually showing what they're going to do. I don't know. I think it's overblown.
If you're a fan,
the concerns are overblown.
And you had the opportunity to film the other team's practices and put it on Twitter, would you do it? I want to know. I want to know who's got a moral compass here in the chat. I wouldn't do it. I want my team to win a fair fight. Very easy to say,
I just don't
because
think
my team has Tom Brady. So he probably knows all of the plays. Anyways, another refresher timeline that we had from yesterday, also happening right here in Cincinnati. The reunion that America loves to see. Our very own Chris Collinsworth reuniting with Al Michaels here in the city of Cincinnati. Longtime broadcasters on Sunday Night Football, and now, of course, Al Michaels is working on Thursday Night Football with Kirk Herbstreit, and so we don't get to see this duo anymore in the broadcast booth, but we did get to see him at Walt's Hitching Post, a really nice restaurant here in Kentucky. I'm curious, Mike, what do we think Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth ordered last night?
Oof, that's a good question. So I know, I've been told, or I've heard stories
I don't know
from
if y'all
Chris
can read that menu, but
that Al Michaels doesn't eat vegetables.
Right.
So yeah. So I'm looking through this, and you know, surf and turf is just steak and lobster. That feels right up his alley.
Could.
But you may not eat seafood either. You might just be a pure steak, nothing else on my plate kind of guy.
There is wings at this place called Boss Hog Wings. I gotta think the Collinsworth. I'm gonna tell myself the Collinsworth slammed down some Boss Hog Wings. So I'm gonna go with that.
Probably. I don't know. I looking through the menu. I've never been to this place or never even heard of this place.
Maybe we need to go for science and write it off as a company expense.
Yeah. If we're doing a show from there, then PFF has to pay for it, right?
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah. No, I like it. I think that makes complete sense. I know that Chris has a signature steak at another steakhouse in Cincinnati called Jeff Ruby's, and I believe it's topped with crab cake.
Yeah, it's solid. I mean,
It's filet Oscar.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Have you had it, Quinn?
I have, yeah. It's the best thing on the menu.
Wow.
And I'm not just saying that. So I actually, my first year here at PFF, we had our company party at Carlo and Johnny, which is a Jeff Ruby restaurant. And I didn't want to get the steak Collinsworth because I didn't want to seem like a brown nose. I didn't want to seem like I was sucking up. But it is the best thing on the menu.
Yeah.
It's filet Oscar style. I mean,
I don't think I
that's
got
what you
it
get
either.
when you go to a nice steakhouse.
I got it.
I mean, when I go to a nice steakhouse, I'm getting the biggest ribeye that they have on the menu, but that's just me.
Apparently there's another steakhouse called Lonely Pines here in town. It's super good. Never been, but we're getting off the rails a little.
Lonely Pines?
Yeah.
All right, before we move on, how do you order your steak?
Medium rare.
Okay, all right, that's appropriate.
If I'm making it at home, I do sous vide and I put it like 131, 132. So that's how I ride.
You're like a real at-home steak guy.
Yeah, I love sous vide. It's great.
All right, everybody in the production suite, tell me how you order your steak. I need to know. I need to know if I can trust you with any other part of this show.
Medium rare.
Okay, Quinn's medium rare. What is
Medium. Yeah, medium. Medium rare.
2 medium rares, 2 mediums.
I can't hate on medium.
I can.
Medium's fine at
I
like
can.
a nice steakhouse.
You're so close to the line.
Yeah.
What if they
but
overcook it just a little bit?
Then you're getting a little tough meat. But I will say, like, you're not losing a ton of flavor at medium. You're getting above that, you're losing flavor.
Medium rare or below. That's all. That's the only way that we order steak. That's the only way that we order steak. You know what? I'm gonna bring Ben into the show. The one and only Ben Solak. Everyone knows him. Everyone loves him. He does incredible work over at The Ringer, covering basically the entire NFL. He's got a new show on YouTube called The Play Sheet where he's breaking everything down. He just does fantastic stuff. If you guys have heard of this show, I know that you have heard of Ben. Ben, I don't think I've ever asked you this question before.
Yes, you have.
How do you order steak?
Medium rare or less.
Okay.
If I know that they'll cook it well rare, like they'll do a good job, then I'll order it rare. But if I'm like at a steakhouse for the first time, medium rare.
You're actually right. We did a podcast for a long time, and we did a podcast in which we answered many wacky questions, so I would actually be shocked if we hadn't answered that question before. But Ben, my friend, how are you? Thank you so much for joining the show, my man.
I'm good, man. We're in it, man. We're officially in the season. I wake up, I think football, I fall asleep, I think football, everything in the middle is football. It's so much fun, but it's just football, I should say, actually. It doesn't wear on you that much.
You've been well, we appreciate the branding right there. You've been putting out some incredible content, whether it's been on Twitter, whether it's been on YouTube, whether it's been over at theringer.com that we've all been appreciating and reading. But on today's segment, the reason why we wanted to have you on, we thought of this and we figured that you would be a perfect guest for it. It's called Don't Look Now. All right, so what we're doing here is we're taking a look at the NFL as a whole, and we're thinking of either players, teams, something surprising us, maybe that we didn't see, and it's like, hey, don't look now. But this is about to happen. Ben, as our guest of honor, I will start with you. We'll do 2 each here. What's your first kind of don't look now but that you've got here with this NFL season?
It's a little bit self-serving because I'm an Eagles fan, and the Eagles own the New Orleans Saints first-round pick for this upcoming draft. But don't look now, the Saints might be like the worst team in the South, man. That's a division with the Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers, to whom the Saints just lost this past week, lest we forget. Jameis Winston was not practicing yesterday, but it was okay. He was going to practice today, and then turns out he's not practicing today. Nagging injuries off of, I think he's dealing with the same back injury that he's been dealing with previously in his career. And even then, it's not like the offense was looking that great with Jameis. The Saints are scoring a ton of their points in the fourth quarter, right? They've been a come-from-behind team, a make games look better by scoring points late team. This entire offense is short routes to Michael Thomas, chuck it up to Chris Olave and pray. And if Olave weren't like the best rookie receiver right now, they'd be in a world of trouble in the offense because they can't run the football. The offensive line's not giving them great protection. And then, defensively, this is the story of defense. This is the story of team building. Yeah, the Saints defense still has a lot of the really important players, Marshawn Lattimore and Cameron Jordan and DeMario Davis, but defense is not sticky. Defense is volatile. Defense goes up and down, even when you keep Dennis Allen. But on the offensive side, you lose Sean Payton, right? On the offensive side, you lose Teron Armstead. On the offensive side, you lose Drew Brees from a couple years ago. So the losses start to pile up, and all of a sudden, the Saints aren't what they used to be. Even though they insist on acting like it, spending money in free agency, trading picks and whatever, they're not what they used to be. I don't watch this Saints team and feel afraid of anything they do on the offensive side of the ball. And then defensively, yeah, they still got teeth, but it's not like they used to. And so to me, the Saints I don't see how the Saints contend in the NFC. People still think they're in the wild card round. I don't see that at all. And they played Atlanta and Carolina, and they should be 0-2 in those games. Atlanta let them get back into that the way that only the Falcons can. I think the Saints are the worst team in the South.
Ooh. I don't hate it because this offense.
They're not playing
the offense,
well, man.
51 points in 3 games with revamped receiving core, but like Sean Payton put a lot of lipstick on a pig for a while in that offense and really held things together, and the cohesiveness is not there right now.
The worst.
We all love Jameis too, but Jameis was available on a one-year deal for $5.5 million for a reason. Like everybody's like, ooh, Jameis, and it's like, yeah, I like rooting for Jameis, but if a quarterback is available in free agency, there's a limit on what that quarterback can do for you, period.
The motto is always that NFL teams can lie with their words and what they say, but they cannot lie with their money. And I think that is a really good encompassing point about Jameis right there. What about you, Mike? What's your first don't look now but?
My first don't look now is the Raiders are in a position, or will be in a position, to draft Derek Carr's replacement next spring. They are 0-3, the only 0-3 team in the NFL. They play in the AFC West, one of the toughest divisions, if not the toughest division in football. I don't see things turning around. And kind of the low-key thing about Derek Carr's deal, that when he signed it that didn't get widely reported, the extension, they can trade him with almost no cap ramifications next offseason.
Right.
They can get something back for him and start the rebuild, even if their offseason moves with signing his extension, with trading for Devontae Adams weren't really rebuild kind of moves. They can do that this next offseason if they want. So he hasn't been playing well. Offense hasn't looked cohesive. They're 0-3. Things could go bad, and they can be in the quarterback market.
Yeah, I had some fun looking at the draft order and if the NFL draft were this weekend just for fun. And the Raiders, sure enough, are number 1 overall because of that 0-3 start. Ben, what do you think about the Raiders so far?
Yeah, when they were 0-2 and they gave up like a historic comeback to the Cardinals, the Cardinals had multiple 2-point conversions in the fourth quarter to get back into overtime to win the game on a fumble, I was like, the Raiders are going to be fine. And then they lost to the Titans. I was like, all right, the Raiders might not be fine.
Yeah.
The Derek Carr contract is just the important thing here, is that they gave him a deal that said, hey, if you're good, then every single year we're going to restructure this. Every single year we're going to guarantee this money. Like, you're going to stay. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not. This is a, like, if you're good, you can stay, sort of an extension. But as Mike very well brings up, it is not we're committed to you for 2025 deal. It's nothing like that. So what is the purpose of keeping Carr versus if you have like a top 5 pick and you really like a guy? That's where it becomes nice for the Raiders, is that, like, let's say they end up with the 11th overall pick. You don't have to go make the big trade up and kind of mortgage the future, get a quarterback if you don't want to. It just gives you the flexibility to do so.
Yep. No, it's a good take, Mike. All right, my first don't look now is, hey, don't look now, but Steelers could be picking in the top 10 for the first time since the year 2000 when they took Plexico Burress at number 8 overall, man. You look at the Steelers right now, they're struggling, and they played the Jets this weekend. All right, maybe a little get-right game. It's Zach Wilson's first game that he's going to start this season. But then it's at Buffalo versus Tampa, at Miami, at Philadelphia. And then I think the Saints are actually after that, so if the Saints can figure it out, they might be a tough one after the Eagles there. This is going to get rough for the Steelers. I respect Mike Tomlin, the hell out of Mike Tomlin as a coach, but they don't have it on offense right now. It's not explosive. And the answer that everyone is clamoring for is a rookie. It's Kenny Pickett, sure, okay, he might give you more than Mitch Trubisky, but he's going to have rookie lumps. He's going to go through those rookie struggles. And so even the light at the end of the tunnel, the hope for the Steelers is still starting a rookie at quarterback that some people were saying was a little bit of a stretch of a first-round pick anyway. So I think the Steelers are headed towards a top 10 pick this next April. Ben, what do you think about where the Steelers are right now?
Yeah, I love this whole, like, well, if we just played Kenny, it's going to be fine. Like, it's great. I have a lot of Steelers fans in my life. My dad's a Steelers fan. My sister's a Steelers fan. My best friend in the world is a Steelers fan. Grew up in Pennsylvania. They're all really positive. You just get Pickett in there. 9-8, wild card round, Mike Tomlin, no problem. So I a little bit want to see it just because Pittsburgh has not had to deal with the reality of non-franchise caliber quarterback play in 18 years. They drafted Roethlisberger in 2004 and then just chilled. And just Mike Tomlin, Bill Cowher, 2 coaches. Unbelievable franchise stability. And Steelers fans act like that's how things should be. So I do want Steelers fans to get taken down a peg. I would not mind seeing them draft in the top 10. I don't think Pickett installed right now solves that problem for them. Line is bad, coordinator's bad. Defense is good, but no TJ. So you lost your linchpin, you lost your star. They're a worrisome team right now.
Yeah, that's another huge one is no TJ Watt. I mean, very few players on the defense side of the football have as high of a win above replacement metric that we have over at PFF. he is one of the highest that there is. So losing him, I think, is a tough one as well. Ben, what's your next one? What's your final little don't look now here that we have here on the show?
Yeah, too much sadness so far. We opened with
we're hyping it up. We're gonna hype it up
here.
here.
The Steelers are bad and the Raiders are bad. Okay, so don't look now, but the MVP race is going to be decided on Sunday, and it will be decided by the winner of Bills-Ravens.
Love it.
This is such a cool game because there are two offenses in the league right now that just their game plan on every single snap is the quarterback takes the snap and then he does everything. It's the whole offense, right? Lamar and the Ravens is just like we're giving Isaiah Likely 20% of the targets. We got Demarcus Robinson out here. Like the running game is terrible. They have nothing on the other 9 players on offense, right? You have like Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, Lamar. That's the whole offense. And Lamar's ability in the passing game has been incredible from the pocket this year. And then obviously running the football, multiple 100-yard games. Like Lamar's outside of his mind. And then Buffalo with Josh Allen is similar issues. Not as dire because they have like Dawson Knox and Stephon Diggs, and like I think things are a little bit better there in terms of their personnel. But they don't have like a hand the ball off running game. Their offensive line's banged up and struggling. This is okay. Either Josh Allen plays the best point guard quarterback we've ever seen. He's 6'5", 240. Or he scrambles and picks up 15 yards running, breaking tackles from linebackers, or he launches it 60 yards down the field. The whole thing is built off of Allen's physical attributes the same way it is for Lamar. So in terms of like who wins the award, it's always like, all right, who throws it a lot and throws a lot of touchdowns, whatever. In terms of who is the most valuable player to their team right now, Allen and Lamar are on a different echelon than any other quarterback in the league, any other player in the league, period. These are the two single most valuable players. So winner take all. I think right now, if you maybe pick MVP, I'd take Lamar. But whichever offense scores 38 instead of 35 this upcoming week, that's what this sort of game's going to be. That guy's going to be in the driver's seat for MVP for as long as this season goes. These two are unbelievable in terms of the production they create in their offense.
Without a doubt, one of the best non-primetime games that we are going to get this entire season, for sure. Mike, what do you think about that? And then what's your next one?
Well, I was just going to say, I 100% agree with the take, but the one interesting thing just to add, Dolphins beat both those guys. Dolphins might be a house. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. That's very true. 2 MVP frontrunners. They really took it.
I'm not saying they're in the 2s in the MVP or anything. I'm just saying Dolphins might be a house.
No, I heard right there. What I heard is 2
MVP race.
Right, Ben. That's what I heard. Is that what you heard? Okay, all right. That's what I heard. What's your next one, Mike?
My next one, I'm going to go back negative. I don't know why I'm skewing negative, but it kind of like your Steelers point. Bill Belichick's going to have his worst record since his first year as a head coach this year.
Wow.
7-9 a couple years ago, the Cam Newton year. His very first year, they went 5-11. That's been his worst record in the Patriots. I was going to say uniform. I guess he doesn't wear a uniform. Hoodie, cut-off hoodie.
Windbreaker.
Yeah, in a windbreaker, they're not good. They're straight up not good. And the offense side of the ball, without Mac Jones now for an extended period of time, depending on if the doctors for the Patriots win out or if Mac Jones wins out in his recovery, either way, he's not going to be on the football field anytime soon, despite Bill Belichick saying day-to-day. It's not good, and the play calling has been very, I don't want to say dated, but it's dated. It does not look like the modern offenses around the NFL that are actually putting up points. So I am worried about this Patriots team. There's not enough talent on the defensive side of the ball that Bill Belichick can even make them into a good defense to where they're just going to lose a lot of games. They're just going to lose a lot of games.
Ben, we're taking some shots at some legendary head coaches. What do you think about this one with the outlook for the Patriots this year?
I didn't think about I have no schema in my mind for what's the worst record Bill Belichick's had as a head coach. That's such a good way of framing it because I agree. I don't think the Patriots win 7 games this year. I don't think they have enough in the cupboards, right? Even if Belichick were coaching at his peak, there's just a really, really, really bad roster, especially if you have the injury to Mac now and you're dealing with backup quarterback for a period of time. And it doesn't feel like a 7-win team. And then you remember that the coaching staff is out here coaching with their eyes closed for some reason. I always liken it to a challenge run in a video game. Belichick's trying to win this thing without using items. You know what I mean? He's just all right, how many wins can I get while also screwing around with the setting? It's very odd what's happening in New England. I don't think it's going to produce a ton of wins. And so this Belichick worst coaching season in 2 decades is a don't look now, and I very much agree with it.
I love the video game analogy because it's true.
It's so good.
It feels like Belichick is just, I don't know, ever since Brady, obviously, with the whole, even with Brady, it's I'm going to max out one weapon of mine and everything else is going to be absolutely terrible. I'm going to see how far it takes me in the game.
The way I say it is Brady is 100% in the game. He's all right, time to go win 7 Super Bowls in the NFC, right? Which have to do every achievement. And Belichick is challenge running the game. He's I'm not going to go into an HP center. We're just setting new rules and seeing if I can still make the playoffs.
All right, last one for me. I'm gonna say this one and give props to Ben at the same time because he wrote a fantastic article about it. But mine, don't look now, Jeff Okudah could be in the hunt for comeback player of the year, all right? Now,
Yes,
I know
sir.
that it is tough. Like, it would be tough for any defensive player, especially corner, right? Unless he's getting a lot of interceptions for him to win this award, because it like everything else, is a stat-driven award. But, Ben, you wrote a fantastic article about this on The Ringer, how what Okudah is this year is allowing the Detroit Lions to play the way they want to. Play man coverage and play aggressive. Fire bodies at the pocket, have guys be manned up in the back, and just letting it ride. Just being a very aggressive defense. And before, they didn't really have the corners to do that. You look at Jeff Okudah's numbers on the screen, 77.6 coverage grade, that's the best on the team. Only allowed 12 catches, 100 yards, 2 forced incompletions. He's got 17 tackles, which means this guy's all over the field as well. It just feels like Okudah is playing with so much more confidence this year, and they are allowing him to really, really stand out the way that we thought the former number overall 3 pick was going to be. So it takes stats to win the award, no doubt, but I wanted to give a shout out to Okudah, not just because Ben was on the show, but because he is playing like a really, really good corner already, coming off injury, which is great to see. But Ben, I'll let you talk a little bit more about Okudah, because that was a great article you wrote on him.
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, even if like he'll never win comeback player of the year, because that's just not how the voting works, the vibes are so good. I was smiling the whole time. Like, I was watching the film around the piece, because just Okudah was so freaking good in college, and we all wanted him to be so good. And Matt Patricia just ruined everything, and it just felt so. And he had the injury. It's awesome to watch like a really talented player get to play and be really, really good. A lot of people, you know, in the context of that Okudah game against Justin Jefferson, like, double teams and safeties on top and whatever, which is true. But the reality is, like you said, like Okudah's letting the Lions play the way they want to play. Every team would play that way against every star receiver every week if they had the guys to do it. It's not like you just press the double team button and it always works every time. You do still need a guy who can get up on the line of scrimmage, be 6'1", 205 with like insane recovery athleticism, and say, hey, go shove Justin Jefferson as hard as you can. Because a lot of corners would try to do that and completely miss Justin Jefferson, right? And so Okudah's still, like, even, when he's getting safety help over one of the top 3 receivers in the league, is still showing that the traits that he was drafted for, the skills of the line of scrimmage, press man coverage, that made him so valuable. We don't see top 3 picks at corner. Like Derek Stingley, obviously, but before Okudah, it was Sean Springs back in 97. The traits that got him drafted that highly are there. And with every week that he gets more reps and more experience and more comfort out there, you're going to see more and more just 3 targets, 2 catches, 6 yards, ho-hum.
All right, before we get you out of here, Ben, we've got people in the chat who are saying, what is on the whiteboard behind Ben? Can we highlight what you got? Is this for the play sheet? Do you have it up here for the play sheet?
Yeah, so like basically any appearance I'm on, like I'm just putting stuff up here. Firstly, the Eagles vibes are always up top, so the Eagles are 3-0. I don't think you can see that here, but the vibes are currently Doug, because Doug is coming back to Philly. And then the He's Back rankings right now, 1, Jeff Okudah, as we discussed. 2, Doug Peterson, back in Philly, but also he's back coaching and doing well. And then 3, Voldemort, because that's what the GIF is from, right? It's Cornelius Fudge in order to the Phoenix going, he's back. That's what the quote is. So those are your back rankings right now.
He who shall not be named. I'm surprised that you said that.
I apologize.
On the show. Ben, you're the best, man. Everybody go follow Ben. I'm sure that you guys already are on Twitter, but go follow his great work that he does over at The Ringer covering the entire NFL. Ben, thank you so much for joining us, man. That was a lot of fun.
Appreciate y'all. Take care.
All right. That was good, man. That was good. Little appetizer for what's about to come next.
You know what I found while we were talking about Jeffrey Okudah?
Yes.
And this was just insulting. He has the same odds to win comeback player of the year as Baker Mayfield right now. I feel disgusting even reading that. It's just not fair. It's not fair what we do to the quarterback position from a visibility standpoint compared to like corners, offensive linemen, guys that like you only see the bad plays of. It's just not fair. All right, it's just not fair because they're playing at opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of their respective positions.
Who votes on comeback player of the year? Is it like AP voters?
It's AP,
right?
Yeah. Right now the favorite's Saquon Barkley.
No, of course,
Yeah.
and like I get it because he's more notable, he's in the headlines. But I wish AP voters would do a little bit more than
watch
just
football, right? You know, it's like would like actually like pay attention to what's going on the football field instead of just reading stat sheets. And
you know, I wasn't going to be as harsh saying that, but
it was fine saying that. Yeah.
Why not? You should be an AP voter. How do we make that happen?
I don't even know how to even start.
I don't know either, but maybe the chat can help us out. We can mobilize the show.
I think Chris votes for All Pro.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
All right.
We could have him fill out the ballot on the show sometime.
Well, then are we allowed to do that? We allowed to see the votes?
Yeah, who cares?
You're
kicked off the AP. It's shit anyway. Roasting them.
You're like, I don't care what's allowed. I just want what's best for the show. And that's why we love it. Guys, if you have an Apple device, you can go download the PFF app right now. You can see basically everything that you would want, the best of PFF.com, right in the palm of your hands. You can get the fantasy football advice. You can get the betting dashboard. You can get all the great analysis, all the great NFL articles. You can see it right there. It's all laid out very beautifully. It's aesthetically pleasing, and it's right in the palm of your hand. Get the best of PFF by going to the App Store if you got an Apple device. Check out Pro Football Focus, PFF, and make it happen. PFF's coming to you easier than ever. So that's how it goes. All right, Mike, it's time. It's that time. We've walked over, we've transitioned. Hopefully you guys didn't see that. Movie magic, us moving one set to the other. We are at this beautifully made out board. Shout out to Eli who made this board here for us. And we're going to settle the great debate between Ja'Marr Chase and Jaylen Waddle. It's Thursday Night Football. The Cincinnati Bengals are facing the Miami Dolphins. Cincinnati might know Miami's plays now because of what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
But, Mike, we're going to break down a couple of different categories here because receivers come in all shapes and sizes. They have different skill sets. So, of course, we want to get into a little bit of the details of how you judge a wide receiver. We're going to talk about route running. We're going to talk about yards after the catch. We're going to talk about deep threat. And then we're also, at the very end, you and I are going to choose who we would be taking. All of those things considered. Yeah. I don't have the chat up right in front of me, so I know that we have a little chat marker that we'll be moving one way or the other. So I just need the guys in the production suite to be able to let me know what the chat's going on. But, Mike, let's talk about route running first.
Can I first just say, I didn't realize I was going to be at a board today, or I forgot I was, so I'm wearing my sweat shorts, which I wear every day. But would have worn something different had I known. Had I remembered.
No, look, it's facts to say, but you got to be you.
So, I mean, they're both great route runners. So you don't produce it in the NFL at a high level without having some route running chops. To me, though, the more complete route runner is Jaylen Waddle. I trust him to run any route in the book and still get open. You think about last year, that offense and what they did in the RPO game. It was slants. It was ins, outs, underneath sort of route tree because they didn't have the time to do much else. And he produced like a madman on that. Now, this year, you're seeing more posts. You're seeing more downfields. You're seeing more double moves. And oh, by the way, he's leading the NFL in yards per route because of it. Leading the NFL, second in the NFL in total receiving yards. So to me, just more of a complete route runner, whereas vertical tree sort of, goes, sticks, straight post, Chase is a monster. I just don't think you have the off the line of scrimmage, the ability to run the complete tree the way Waddle does.
So when we get some of the stats here, these are from Next Gen Stats. Average separation, so separation from the nearest defender when the ball is coming your way. They're about the same. Jaylen Waddle is 3 yards. Ja'Marr Chase is 2.9. So they're about the same in that category. But this year, specifically, yards after catch above expectation, Jaylen Waddle is at 3.3 yards. Ja'Marr Chase is just at 0.7. But if we go all the way back to 2021, if we include last year, Ja'Marr Chase was like above 4. Yeah. Like, it was crazy how well he was able to play after the catch. And I think that his route running goes into this. I'm going to go with Ja'Marr Chase for route running. And look, you said it. The route tree, not as diverse for Ja'Marr Chase. But what he does run, I feel like he runs it so well. He is so in control. Going off the line of scrimmage, the footwork, I love how in control he always feels. When he is running comeback routes, it takes him so little time to put his foot in the ground, chop the feet, and completely turn direction. Just get exactly where he needs to go. And because of that, the timing between him and Burrow is fantastic. So, look, it's a more limited route tree, but we already saw last year, when he's rolling well, that's all he needs. He can absolutely dominate. So I'm going to go with Ja'Marr Chase for route running. You're going Jaylen Waddle for route running. Do we have some answers in the chat? I don't know if I can.
Chat's going Jaylen Waddle.
Chat is going Jaylen Waddle. So chat's going Jaylen Waddle here. So we've got 2 votes for Jaylen Waddle. I'm sticking with Ja'Marr Chase for route running. Chat. I just, the way that he can set guys up, he's such an artist. I mean, even with the shoulders, he fakes people out with his. There's so much goes into route running. I just got so much respect for it, but both obviously good in their own right. So let's go to, I got it down here. Got the next category.
Swag?
Yeah, you can. Who's better at the gritty? Our final category.
Has the most swag.
Our final category. Who's more him? Yeah. Okay, we'll go yards after catch here for this next one. Couple of stats before we get into it. 2022, so just this season. Jamar Chase has 88 yards after catch, Jaylen Waddle 135, so he's killing it this year. But if you go back and include last year, Jamar Chase had 745, Jaylen Waddle has just 490, so that includes both this year and last year. Mike, when you look at yards after the catch, where are we going?
See, this one's tough. I mean, they're all tough, right? Like, these guys are elite dudes for a reason.
You gotta plant the flag.
I'm gonna go Jamar Chase for this one.
Okay.
Because of the ways to win, right? You know, he's got 4.3 speed. Maybe not as fast, not as shifty as Jaylen Waddle, but he's the guy who can break angles in his own right. Like, you still have to worry about that aspect to his game. But then he also has you're right at the catch point trying to tackle me, and the guy just melts off him because he's built like a brick shithouse. Like, the guy is rocked up 6 foot tall. Like, he has the power aspect to his game to break tackles as well. So really the total package in terms of the after the catch ability, and like, he gets yak on plays that you just don't usually get yak on. He's not getting pumped these screens underneath targets to then try to get him yak. No, he's more just the guy. He's more like a Deebo Samuel yak kind of guy. And I'll lean that in the NFL where it's like tough to get yards.
Obviously, yards after catch, a lot that goes into that with ball placement, right? When you are running your route, even if you get initial separation from a defender, if the quarterback delivering you the ball doesn't give it to you in stride, doesn't lead you into it, that affects how much yards after the catch you're able to get. Jamar Chase, for as good as he was, Joe Burrow was extremely accurate last year, so that helped. Jaylen Waddle, I think a lot of people would believe this category's got to go to, but I agree with you. I'm going with Jamar Chase here. Waddle's got the speed, so if you're doing anything short and underneath, over the middle, if you get his momentum going, it's hard to keep up with him. But Jamar Chase just almost has that unexplainable, like you just said. He gets yards after the catch when you just think that he shouldn't be getting yards after the catch.
That Ravens play last year.
It was just absolutely insane. He is the master, it feels like, of that slant route. There's so many good ones in the NFL, obviously Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, but Jamar Chase is one of those guys where he'll set you up with his shoulders a little bit, he'll put his foot in the ground, he'll hit that slant, he'll get that ball quickly, and he's gone, man. So I'm going to go with Jamar Chase. I was so in awe of what I saw last year and what he was able to do yards after the catch. So we're both going with Jamar Chase here. I didn't think that would be the case. Who's the chat going with?
Chat's going with Jamar too.
Wow, okay, so we got all three. This feels so weird because of how fast Jaylen Waddle is.
They're probably, in terms of yak ability, they're probably top five. They're probably both top five in the NFL. You got like them, Deebo, Tyreek. I'm trying to think of who else would even be up there, but like those are probably your top four. Yep. So yeah, there you got it.
All right.
What's
Last smaller category before we get into overall. Ripping it off.
Oh, I ripped off the wrong one.
Oh, you ripped off the chat?
Chat's coming back.
Deep threat. All right.
Deep threat.
Who is the best deep threat? We got a couple of plays in here that I'll read. Just this season, in terms of explosive plays, which is 15 or more yards down the field. Jamar Chase has 4 of these. Jaylen Waddle has 7. Incredible start to the season for him. If you go all the way back to 2021, though, just like we did for the last category, Jamar Chase had 41 this year and last year. Jaylen Waddle with just 24. Where are we going here for deep threat, Mike?
All right, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to hedge again. Because Waddle from the slot on like deep overs, deep posts, money. As good as it gets outside Tyreek Hill in the NFL.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase on pure go balls from an outside alignment, one-on-one, as good as it gets in the NFL. Waddle can't do that the way Chase does. Chase can't do this the way Waddle does. So from that perspective, I'm going to go tie. They, to me,
you're going in the middle?
Are tied in that regard.
Middleman Mike.
Middleman Mike.
They
call him Triple M, baby.
I'm just saying, I do think that these are, both elite deep threats, and if you put them in the opposite situations, they wouldn't be as good as the other.
No, I mean, that's...
So that's where I lean with that. We're gonna hedge. We're gonna go tie.
There is no shame in that. They are both so good at this in their own regard. But I'm gonna go with Jaylen Waddle. I'm gonna go with Jaylen Waddle for deep threat. And the big reason why is because I trust Jaylen Waddle's separation when getting vertical more than I trust Jamar Chase's. Jamar Chase was unbelievable last year at getting vertical, not having a ton of separation. Burrow throws it up to him, and Burrow said this in the press conference. What is it? F it, Jamar's down there somewhere. Even if he's fully covered, he trusts his guy to go up and get it. But a lot of times, those are contested catch situations. There's not a lot of separation there. With Waddle, there is a big chance that it doesn't have to be a contested catch situation.
Yeah.
Even with deep safeties back there, even with a corner trailing him a little bit, That's why I like the deep threat ability of Waddle. You mentioned his route tree is a little bit more diverse. I think that also goes into how he can attack vertically. You going in the middle. I'm going to go with Waddle on this one. But
what's the chat going?
What's the chat going? Where are we going with chat?
Chat's going Jamar.
Chat's going Jamar on this one.
All right, the first pure tie.
That is look at this. We call this an Indianapolis Colts right here. 1-1-1 right there. Okay. All right. So overall, the moment of truth. Who we taking? All right. So we're going overall. Who are you taking between Jaylen Waddle and Jamar Chase? I'm gonna take the chat off of here. Last PFF stat that I want to that I wanted to read here. It's an extra one. Has to do with contested catches because we didn't have a category for contested catch.
That was not even a debate. That was probably like we didn't even have to debate. It's gonna be Chase.
In 2020, since 2021, so it's the last two. So it's the last two years. Chase has 11 contested catches. Jaylen's got 15. Jaylen Waddle has more contested catches. Contested catch percentage, which means how many of those contested catches you hauled in. Chase, 33.3%. Waddle, 65.2%.
He is good.
So who you got? All that considered, route running, yards after the catch, deep threat, contested catches. Who are you taking, Jamar Chase or Jaylen Waddle?
I'm going Jaylen Waddle. And I was going to mention that because they're not the same contested catches that they're about. Like you mentioned, chases are deep balls. Like you're going to have a lower percentage on a pure go ball contested catch rate than a slant, which is probably a lot of Waddles from last season. But Waddle is a certified dog. As we said on the show earlier this week, he is physical as can be. I went back and watched some of his high school highlights when he played DB, and that guy hit like an absolute freight train back in high school. He has that to his game, the physicality, despite being only 180 pounds, very similar to his teammate Tyreek Hill, which is what separates them from your run-of-the-mill 180-pound wide receiver who's a speedy deep threat. No, these guys can actually mix it up as well. So from all those perspectives, give me Jaylen Waddle, give me that elite speed, give me that game-breaking ability that he brings to the table in a role that's a diverse role, whereas Chase, in his role, fantastic. I don't think Waddle could do his role, but I don't think Chase could come close to Waddle's role, and that's why I'm leaning Waddle.
Going against you. I'm taking Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase versus Jaylen Waddle. I'm taking Jamar Chase. And because of what we talked about, right? There's so many things that we can show of Jamar Chase's game that makes sense. Okay, the route running, here's how he sets him up, all of that. But there are so many areas of Jamar Chase's game that I feel like he should not have the advantage that he does.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the fastest wide receiver in the world, and yet the yards after catch advantage goes to Chase, I feel like. The deep threat ability, threatening vertical, Chase is so reliable in what he does there. Both the things that I can explain and the things that are harder to explain, Jamar Chase is elite at. You talked about going back to high school with Jaylen Waddle. I'll just go back to college. Record breaker, national champion. I watched Jamar Chase and I went, no, come on. There's guys that are going to be a little bit more physically gifted than him. He's not going to dominate like this throughout the entire season. He did. And he has dominated in the NFL so far. It's a little bit of a struggle to start this year, but I'm going to go with Jamar Chase. You're going Jaylen Waddle. Where's the chat going? Who's the chat picking?
Chat's going with Jamar.
Oh!
Chat's going with Jamar Chase, baby.
Chat's always right.
Break my heart.
Chat's is sticking with us in the great debate between...
Tonight.
You're right. Yeah. The great debate between Jaylen Waddle and Jamar Chase. We got 2 votes. Myself in the chat. We're unified right here. Mike's going with Jaylen Waddle. Hard to go wrong with any of these, but that was our first little whiteboard segment. I thought that was good, man. I thought it was good. We did good there. We did good there.
They were, I think, the team that has the biggest regret. Falcons. Passed him, most of them. Kyle Pitts. No stops to Kyle Pitts. Nothing against Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts is still an absolute alien.
You'd rather have both those guys than Kyle Pitts, though.
I think that at this point you are probably correct, but I wouldn't be surprised if we weren't having a segment like that with Kyle Pitts.
You know what's an interesting revisionist history that no one brings up because it would have been insane at the time. But what if the 49ers, instead of drafting Trey Lance, would have drafted one of those two? You know, they traded up 3rd overall. They drafted Trey Lance.
That's a good
because,
point.
I mean, they gave up the draft capital to do so. It would have been insane to trade that much draft a wide receiver. But they were in the NFC Championship game last year without Trey Lance doing a damn thing. Put one of those guys on that NFC Championship team. Do they have a Super Bowl? Do they?
I don't know. Yeah.
I think they do.
Can you imagine Jaylen Waddle,
I think they have a Super
Samuel, and
Bowl.
George Kittle?
Yeah.
Brandon Ayuk playing well,
I mean,
too.
it would have been insane at the time, right? Like it would have gotten ripped to shreds. But I think if they had those, just everything else being equal around the NFL, they win a Super Bowl.
Oh, stacked playmakers, baby. Those are the fun questions that I love. I love that you think about the what if of what could have been there. Well, let's get you guys out of here by previewing everything else that we're going to see here on Thursday Night Football between the Bengals and the Miami Dolphins. We're talking the spread, we're talking the over-under, and we're giving you guys our favorite prop bets as well before we get out of here. Mike, let's talk spread first. Bengals favored by 4 in this one. Dolphins getting 4 points. I got to think the uncertainty of Tua Tagovailoa is a big reason why. On the screen there, that's from the PFF app. Line might have moved to 3.5. So we'll go 3.5. We'll go 3.5, I guess, because of what we're seeing on the screen there. But who are you going with?
That brutal back injury.
Yeah, of course.
Tua
Sure.
I mean, back hurt so bad he couldn't walk there for a second. Man, you have to feel for a guy like that. So yeah, I do think that's why this line is what it is, right? It's because of the back. Because they're taking that in of will he even play? I definitely think he plays at this point. Obviously, he was there in the walkthrough.
If he wasn't gonna play, we would know by now.
But if he's playing and he looks like the guy who played the second half against Buffalo, brought him back. They're the team that just beat the Ravens. They're the team that just beat the Buffalo Bills. They are the team that looks like, as I said earlier, a house so far this season. So to me, this line's too much. Giving me 3 points for the Dolphins, like even to lose this game and still make money, I'm going to go the Dolphins side.
I'm going to go with the Bengals, and I think a lot of logic says to go with the Dolphins, but for some reason, I feel like this is a game where the Bengals offense is really going to start to catch fire. They came out slow in the season. We knew they were going to get a little bit better. They get a win against the Jets last week. They have a lot of success on offense, especially through the passing game there. I think they're going to continue to lean on that more. I think it's going to be a shootout, but I think the Bengals are the team that is going to come out on top. Something else I really love, obviously, if Tua is injured at all whatsoever, whether it's a concussion, whether it's a back, whatever it is, that Bengals defensive line's playing really well this season. Trey Hendrickson's playing well. Reader's playing really well. They got a lot of dudes on that defensive line. So I think that they're playing great. I think that's going to be the difference. That's going to slow the Dolphins down a little bit, and I think the Bengals get an extra touchdown in this one. So I'll say that they cover those points here at home. What about
DJ Reader, though? Not playing.
He's not?
Not playing. Knee injury out for a while, actually.
It's a little tougher. Yeah. It's a little tougher. I'm still going to go with it because I have to, because I'm bullish and I'm stubborn. Let's go with the over-under. It's 47.
Maybe this is wishful thinking, and maybe I'm just trying to manifest. I want to see an over. I want to see more than 47 points. I want to see Burrow and Tua go back and forth. First 2 quarterbacks selected in the 2020 draft. I want to see a game like we saw LSU Bama back in 2019. That game was sick. That was an all-time sort of game. I want to see that. QB versus QB. I want to see maybe they go back with the clap play too. Get everyone to freeze, look at the sideline. It doesn't really work so much in the NFL, but I do want to see an over, and so I have no real way of justifying it other than both these offenses are nasty at their peak. So I'm going to go over.
I'm going to go over as well. I just want to see fun. I think that both of these offenses have plenty of capabilities. Certainly if Tua plays, they've got the ability to rack up a lot of points. The Bengals, we know they can do that too. I think that they're going to do that at home. They're going to be ready to unleash this offense. I'm saying over for that 47. And then my favorite player prop, you guys can see it on the screen, Tyreek Hill's over-under on receptions is 5.5. I think Tyreek Hill gets 6. Come on. Especially if I think that this game's going over. If I think that this is going to be a shootout. If I think the Bengals are going to cover 4, that means that the Dolphins are either going to come out the gate hot or very quickly they're going to turn that knob over to let's get it to our best playmakers. We got to start putting up points. Tyreek Hill, I think, is definitely getting over 6 receptions in this game.
Yeah. Oh, my prop. I forgot to say my prop. My prop is Raheem Mostert under 9.5 carries. Yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to win, but I think it's going to be a barn burner to where they're not going to be icing the clock at any point in this game. And the Dolphins have been just so insanely pass heavy. So he's only gone over that prop once so far this season. 112 pass plays to 54 run plays with 2 in the game. I just don't see him being a run first team against this front seven. They're gonna try to attack, try to go score some points.
All right. Do we got a chat champ before we get out of here? Do we have somebody that we're crowning? Quinn, do you have somebody off the top of your head?
No, we do not. 52% of the chat says Dolphins, though.
52% says Dolphins.
Tight. That's a tight one.
Okay. This can be a good game, man. I'm excited for this.
Very excited.
You and I are going to go out and tailgate it?
Yes, yeah. If you're in the Cincinnati area, come find us in the Longworth Hall lot. We will be throwing some bags.
I was going to say, we're going to be cornhole. We're going to be playing die. We'll be playing flip cup.
Yeah.
It's all going to be there.
It's all It's all deadly.
Going to be it's all deadly. Not as deadly as the smelling salts that we had at the beginning of the show.
I'll bring the salts too.
No, don't. No, leave them at home. Leave them on the set. In fact, put them in one of those lockers that we got in the background because I don't even want to see that thing ever again after I watched what it did to Saab. I appreciate everybody watching the show. This one was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for getting in the debate. Shout out to Ben Solak for joining the show. We got one more tomorrow coming up. We're going to recap everything, all the fun action that we're going to see on Thursday Night Football tonight, plus preview the rest of the NFL games that we've got coming up later this weekend. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That is Mike Renner. For everybody in the production suite, thank you for watching It's Just Football. We'll see you all tomorrow.
It's not about politics. It's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. He's just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
I just get in and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game.
It really is the best time of the year.